Right, so let's continue with this. Right, so let's continue. 23. MBU Hotel Limited is reorganizing its costing system and it has split activities into four centers. So it has four core centers. So into accommodation, catering, leisure, and outing. The hotel has standardized service which it offers to customers as packages. The package includes meals, accommodation, meals, use of leisure facilities, and a number of outings. The price per day for the use of each cost center by the customer is predetermined. Materials and labor can be identified with cost center in the budget, but other overheads listed below cannot be so easily identified. So you can see labor, material, and the likes are easily identified in it, right? But the other ones here, power is not able, like they cannot identify it in accommodation, catering, leisure, and outing, and the likes, right? So you are given the following information about the cost centers from the budget for the coming year, right? So we have the basis of apportionment, we have floor area for accommodation is this, for catering is this, for leisure and outing. Number of employees, 32 is this, 16 is this, 24 is this, and then 8 is this. Machinery value, this, and this. Kilowatt hour, and this. Advertising is to be apportioned to the cost center on the basis of customer usage. We have customer usage here. And then um, office expenses should be apportioned on the basis of total cost center before the apportionment of office expense. So when we are doing everything, then this thing that we will get before the total cost that we get before apportioning office expenses is what we are going to use to apportion that one. It is the policy of the hotel that customers should have the standard accommodation and catering package, but the leisure facilities and outings are optional. So what it means is that no matter what you do for accommodation and then catering package or meals, you are going to have it by force, right? But for the other ones, it's optional. You can choose to have it or not. So, and also their policy is to operate at a profit margin of 30% on price. So margin, right, on price. So meaning we have to convert margin markup. Here, they are telling us to prepare a cost statement for the four cost centers, showing the budgeted total cost and then the budgeted cost per day. Then we should also calculate uh, the price to be charged, the price charged to Alaji, Shikana, and Hajia Apuski, who went to use the hotel for their honeymoon for 1 week. They require accommodation and catering for 7 days, use of leisure facilities for 3 days, and want to go on outing on 3 days. Now, the actual results for the hotel for the year ended were as follows. This is for accommodation and the customer days and the like. So they are then last to calculate whether there has been an under absorption or over absorption, right? Which we treated in overhead analysis. So We are going to do the same thing here, right? Don't worry. This is so simple. It is, we are going to do it. So now, let's begin. That's going to be NBA hotel. Right. So let's draw the overhead analysis. So today we have particulars, we have basis of apportionment. We have accommodation. So we are coming to put all this accommodation. Once I see this, the whole arranging is here on the ground, me and train, pleasure, housing, computer. Let's just put everything here. Down liver for us already. Thank you. Awesome. This one was 100. There is there is there is 100.5. There is 35. This 38. 5. The theta is next one is materials. Materials. So why do we just put this amount about could be a kilogram versus 1.6, 1.3, 19.36, 1.6. bacteria because is 84. Now, so let's just repeat everything. Then I'll move on to power. Power. For the power, the basis of apportionment is going to be the kilowatt hour. Right. So now working here. Let's add the total kilowatt hour is going to 5,000 to 5,000, 12,500, and 1,000. In total, what are we going to get? 1,000. Right, that's the total. So if you want to get for accommodation, we take accommodations from and then we divide it by what? The total to 21,000. So let's go. Accommodation is 5,000. So it is going to be equal to 5,000. It's going to be 5,000 divided by the total through 1,000. Let's put it into brackets. Let's see. Times the total for power, 64. So this would be the distance. This particular one. Then come to the next one. 2,500, right? So it's equal to bracket. When you're right, you don't need to bring it together. So this is how it's going to be. You know, most of us will know, but we need. So the first one is 5,000. So this is what 1,000 times the 54. That's for the first one. Now the second one is going to hatred. Hatred is going to equal to 500 all over 21,000 times 84. That's the same. That's what you're going to do. Hatred. So equal to 2,500 divided by 2,100. times let's go. Happen. Do the same thing for the next one. Equal to bracket 500 times divided by 2100 bracket 2 times 84 bracket. Now the next one is going to be equal to the positive bracket again 1000 divided by 1000 times and we get the total was that was the total. Yeah. So let's do for the next one. Let's go for the next one. The next one here is rent and rates. Rent and rates normally means the value for apportionment is normally the floor area occupied. Floor area occupied. Then, now, total is 70. Now, the same thing, right? Take the floor area occupied and then add all of them. The floor area, 1000, 1200, 400, 600, and 200. So the same thing here. Then we are going to get 2400. So the first one is 1200, right? So 5200 over 2400 times the 72. We are getting 26. So that's the same thing we are going to do throughout for all of them. So because bracket open, 0 divided by 0.00 times 70 total. Okay? 0.6 report. The second one is 400 divided by 2, 400 times 7, 12, 4. This the next one is 600 divided by 600 divided by 2, 400 times 54, 200 times 200 divided by 2, 400 brackets close times 7, that's 6. Now we move on to the next one, depreciation. So depreciation too, we are going to do the same thing. So but depreciation is on the basis of the machine value. So machinery value. Now depreciation, so it to be writing like you do BPI. You know, mommy chair or video back. Depreciation is based on machine value. Machinery value. Now the machine value has have 10,000, 20,000, 60,000, 30,000. 'So in total, they are going to get 10, 30, 90, 150. And I guess I be 30, 30, 60 plus 60, 120,000. So now pick the first one. All over 120,000 times. What's the total? Total for depreciation is 6 times. So that's what we are going to do for the rest also. That's So equal to 10,000 divided by 120,000 times 6. This one is going to be 20,000. Getting 10. And this one is going to be this one is going to be this one is going to be the next one. Go to advertising. Advertising is still the same. Number 3, 76 as total. Then we are going to do the same thing. But advertisement is based on, and they told us that advertising is apportioned to the cost centers on the basis of customer usage. So we are going to use this customer usage, right? So the total customer usage, so customer usage, and then the values are 15,000, 12,000, 8,000, 3,000, 15, 12, 8. Total is 38,000. So the same way, take the first one all over 38,000 times the total advertisement is what? Is what? 76. Then we get that. So we do the same thing here, equal to bracket. Don't belly the bracket all over 38,000 bracket close times the total 76. And the next one is 12,000. And this one is 8,000 words. Then this one is 30,000. Now, we have an office expenses here. We don't do it straight away because the question said something. The question said that office expenses should be apportioned on the basis of total cost per cost center before apportionment of the office expenses. We have to total whatever we have here and then use it as the basis of apportionment. So when we total them equal to summing them. Yeah, okay. Let me just do them. Right, right. So the sums are here. Right now, I bring my office expenses on the basis of what total cost. Right, so this is the basis of apportionment. Now, here's what we are going to apportion it on the basis of this. Right. When we take on the basis of the total cost. Right. So what we are going to do is we take 20 and okay, so let me write it here so that you get the price. So like this, office expense, right? Then it is based on the total cost. So we take the first one, 220, all over the total 660 times the office expense, which is 240. Maybe you are wondering how I got the 660, right? The 660 is the total cost. So with the total cost, so the total YFS, so 220 plus 192.5 plus 16. So the total is here 660. So when we take this over this, multiply by the 230. So equal to this all over this times 240. Get it. Oh, let me do the same thing for this one. Because I'm absolute. So that's it. We take 220 all over the total, then multiply by the office expenses. So that's what has been done, all of it. And this is just the total as we can see. So now we can complete our real total cost. So, if you know, financial resources, resources. So now let's do our total overhead cost and asset. So total overhead cost, we are coming to some business. So equal to some examples. Yes. Pata total overhead. The 990, the 900 is a total overhead. And based on each department, accommodation is having 300,000 because 30 is top one number 300,000. This is 260. Is it 200 and 263,500? And then this and then that's right. So this is the total. This is how the overhead analysis should be supposed to look like. So this is the total. Let's continue to the B. The B is saying that okay, the A was like I was like the total budgeted cost. Now the II here is saying that the budget cost per day per cost center, right? Per day per cost center. So now let's check the overhead cost per day. So if you want to know the overhead cost per day, we have to use the customer usage as the basis of apportionment, right? So now let's change the total overhead. Let's change it to the food is the 300,000, and this is 265. Then it's 2 to 5,000. 1, 1, 2, 4. So the thing is that we were solving everything here by removing 3 zeros, right? So you can check from here. You remove 3 zeros. So we also did the same thing by removing. But now we want to know the cost for this. So I'm just bringing all the 3 zeros back. So I've added 3 zeros to this, 3 zeros to this, 3 zeros to this, 3 zeros to this, and 3 zeros to this. That's why I see that way. So now you do this by using the expected customer usage days, right? So that's what we are going to use as a base of apportionment to know the cost per day because the person is telling us to what? Find the budgeted cost per day per cost center. We have to use this one. So expected usage is this is what 1,500, a 15,000. Sorry, this is 12,000. This is 8,000. This is 3,000. And so if you want to get the cost per day, Then let me go and do. So you want to get a cost per day. This divided by this, right? So cost per day is equal to total overhead cost divided by expected usage. Sometimes they can give you the usage in months, and you have to convert it to this, right? You know, by the without checking the days, you know. If they tell you in months, if they give it to you in months, what I've not so far is just assume that all the months have 30 days. Or when they give you 12 months, just use 365. Yeah. So that would say come to drag it all of. So this is the expected cost per day. This, 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 and then this, right? So this is the cost per day. We are done with the first part of the question. That is how many marks? 16 marks. That's nice. Now, let's check the calculate the price to be charged to Alaji Sukana and Hajia Apuski, who wants to use the hotel for their honeymoon for 1 week. They required accommodation and catering for 7 days, the use of leisure facilities for 3 days, and wants to go on outing for 3 days. So now we want to compute the cost for them, right? And mind you, the firm is also creating to us a margin of 30% on price. So now what we are going to do now is let's look for the amount to be charged to. So this is the B part. Amount to be charged to Haji Shukana and Hajia Akuski. Eh, I'm confused well, cry. Eh, our HOD para. Confused, do you know it? All right. So with that one, we have to first find the cost per person and then multiply it by 2. So now We find the total cost per person, the cost per person. Remember, we have accommodation, we have meals, we have leisure, have outing. Now, accommodation is what? Spacing or having a rate, cost per day is what? 20, right? So it is going to be equal to 20 times how many days are they using on accommodation? They want to, they require accommodation and catering for 7 days. For 7 days. So times 7. Meals, so you see the catering and listening for 7 days. So this one is equal to, what's the amount here? This times 7. Then leisure. Leisure is facing this. And then leisure is what? For 3 days. So 3. And then outing. Outing is having a rate of 37.5 times how many days? 3 days. Today is it here. Right. Now, the total cost, total cost here is going to sum all of them. Can see here, sum of all of them. So now, after summing them, come and then find our margin. Then they said they are applying margin of what? 30% on price. Since this margin on 30% on price, we have to convert that margin to profit. So margin, for margin to markup, when we are doing from markup to margin, we add the markup to the denominator. And when we are doing from margin to markup, we subtract from it. So margin will be equal to 0.3, which is the 30%, all over 1 minus 0.3, which is going to give us 0.3 over 0.7. But in case they say markup to markup to margin is going to be 0.3 over 1 plus 0.3, right? So if you are converting markup to margin, it's the other way around, and margin to markup. So since margin is on cost, then this so equal to 0.3 divided by 0.7 times this. This is it. Pata cost. Pata cost on Kasani. Sum of this, sum of this, as 700. That's the cost per person. So the cost of 2 person, cost of the 2 people, it's going to be equal to 700 times 2. So it's what? 14,400. 1,400 will be for the 2 people for the 7 days that the second one. Now, see, it then has to uh, calculate the under and then over absorption, right? So normally, when we calculate the absorbed and then it is lesser than the total, then there is under absorption. When we calculate the absorbed and it is higher than the total, then it is what? Over absorbed. So let's do that. Total cost cost that customer rate absorbed. Have accommodation, have patient, have pleasure, have outing. Total is actually 20,000. Just entering all this package. Then 375. Now the absorbed is going to be this. It's going to be equal to the cost per day times the customer they save at 1.5. You get it. So the cost per day that we calculated for the overhead, right? Multiplying by the customer days that you're having. So this is it here. And the next one is going to be this. Yes. Times is 13,000. And equal to this one also times the absorb the customer is sorry. Here's it here. Yeah, now last one is equal to this, equal to this times this with this times this. That's it. Now let's solve for the difference. It's going to be equal to this minus this, the absorb minus the total or the actual. Always remember absorb minus actual or minus total. Absorb plus actual. Actual is equal to total. So now, any of them that you are seeing negative here is under absorb. So the max can put the max here. Under absorb. Over absorb. So anytime the absorb is lesser than the total, repeat after me. Anytime the absorb is lesser than the total, there's under absorption. Anytime the absorb is higher than the total, there's over absorption. Repeat after me. Repeat after me. Anytime there is, anytime the absorb is lesser than the total, there's under absorption. Anytime the absorb is greater than the total, there's over absorption. All right. Sure you get it. It is for question 3 for grouping 25 marks. Let's go to the next one. Question 4. Question 4. Right. So the final battle is here. So let's continue with question 4. So question 4. Kindly like this video for me, okay? Share it with your friends. All right. So after West after Western Limited manufactures hospital design, TV like first. After Western Limited manufactures and sells 3 joint delicacy products. So they are joint, which is mango pine, MP, pork, porcupine, CP, and pineapple pine, PP, which are manufactured after going through three distinct processes: peeling, blending, bottling, and bottling. In October, Afri-Western introduced 1,250 kilograms of raw materials at 20 Ghana cedi per kilogram, and was uh, per raw material at 20 Ghana cedi per kilogram was to be peeling process to begin the production of these joint products. During production in October, other materials worth 6,625 Ghana cedi were added to the peeling process, and the wages paid to direct workers in the peeling department amounted to 11,250. Okay. It is the policy of Afri-Western to apply or absorb manufacturing overhead as 100% of direct labor cost. The following information are also made available for operations in October and the other two processes. So for peeling, the actual output here is what? 1,125, and normal loss is 10%, and then the scrap value is 10. Blending, 9,125, and then the direct wages for that particular side is 5,000. The actual output is 950, and the normal loss is 12%. Then the scrap value is 20. Bottling, the other material that was added was 7,090. Direct wages is 7,380. Actual output is what? 890. Normal loss is 10%, and the scrap value is what? 30 Ghana. At a recent management meeting, Ms. Malaika, the Research and Development Director, informed management that their current products would be processed further to create and to increase their economic value, and provided the following information to support their proposal. Selling price at split, 85, 100, 75. Selling price after further processing, 118, 140, 125. Further processing, a further cost per unit, 30, 35, 40. Further processing cost. Percentage output at split off point, 40, 35, and then 25. Expected output after processing, 340, 298, and then 200 kg. However, management is unconvinced about the cost effectiveness of further processing the product despite the increase in selling prices, and needs advice. Afri-Western had no beginning and ending work in progress in October. Prepare the process account, normal loss account, abnormal loss and gain account for Afri-Western, then advise management of Afri-Western Limited on whether to further process the product or not, and support your recommendations with relevant working. State two difference between marginal and what absorption cost. Let's roll. So question 4. Factory, West, uh, we're coming to do process first. For this one, let me write so that I can understand it. But when it gets to the decision side, I'll use Excel so that very. So we are starting from process one, which is peeling. So for peeling, we are told that, let me make this quick, otherwise very easy. Peeling process account. So they told us that in the question, after we stand, introduce 1,250 kilograms of raw materials at 20 per kilogram, right, at the beginning of production. So let's report that. Material is supplied 150 at 20 kg, a 20 per kg. And the total is going to be 25. In addition, he said something. He said that uh, during okay, production, during production in October, other materials bought 6,625 for society. So material again, about 2 months away, you know, it wasn't like some kind of so 6,225. So because they didn't add any units, just bring down the total amount. Right. So we are now this is actually process costing, right? Process costing was treated in class. I also did some slight explanations in my videos. Right. I didn't really solve any question. There's only explanation. And now we are doing it here. So so were added, and then during the process, the wages paid to direct workers in the peeling department amounted to 11,250. So direct wages. Then they also said something. They said that it is the policy of Afri-Western to apply or absorb manufacturing overhead to 100% of direct labor costs. So overhead is going to be 100% of the direct labor. Direct labor here is the 1125. So bring it. Now, they are telling us that for the peeling, the actual output that they're expecting is what? 1125. The normal loss is 10%. The normal loss will be so that the scrap value of what? 10. Let's compute our normal loss. Normal loss is normally credited. Which is going to be 10% of this. 10% of this. Right. So when we find 10% of this, we are going to get 1.5. And the person said it is sold at a scrap value of what? 10. So the total value is what? 1.57. Now, we have to check whether there is any abnormal loss or abnormal gain. So we can find 90% of this, then check it whether it is in line with the actual here. So the actual in the question here is what? 1125. Actual. The other process is what? Blending. That's 115. So when we find 90% of this, it is equal to this 1125, then we are safe. There's nothing like an abnormal loss, abnormal gain. So let's find 90% of 1250. So 90% times 1250. Then it's 1125. So hooray, we have nothing here. Now we are now left with what? Giving price to this particular output. So for us to do that, we'll do some small work with PDM, right? Let me do it. After that, I'll delete it. So let's add all these costs. Your material, X, which is in the overhead. So we add all of them. So two, 25,000 plus 6250. 2,650. person was at 6625. When you know. So I had 5 4 1 5. 5 4 1. Right. So that's what we are going to do. Value this. What we are going to do is we are going to subtract this total value from the normal loss value. So 5 4 1 5 minus 1 5 0 all over. So this total minus the normal loss value all over the 1250 minus 1 2, all over 1250 minus 125. So in simple terms, we are going to say the total cost minus scrap value of normal loss all over total material minus normal loss. Do you get it? So that is it. So in doing this, we are going to get uh we are going to get 47. Then 5 8 7 5. Right. So that's how we are going to do that. This is what we are going to transfer to the next business account. So now let's open the next business account since we are done with this. The next one is blending. We open blend. So whatever our balance was in the previous account, we are going to transfer it to this new account. Right. So that's what we are coming to do. So it's from the what? Healing. Then they give us 1,125, right? And then it was at the rate of 47, where the total was 5,875. All right. So now in this process too, they told us that they added other materials and then direct wages is what 5,000. So other materials come. Remember, the material is not given to us, wasn't given to us in units. So we just add only the value. So the value is what 9,125. And uh, then the direct wages is what 5,000. Now, remember the company what absorbs overhead to 100% of the direct wages. So overhead is going to be 5,000. So I think we are done with our normal cost is there was saying. Yeah. Now what we have to do is we have to check the normal loss. Now the normal loss. Remember when you are doing it in exam CLB unit, rate, amount, right? All right. So normal loss for this particular process is 12%. So 12% on this. One three five. And then they are telling us that it will be sold at 20. So 2700. Now, what is the actual output? The actual output here is 950 kilograms. Right, so let's check. Let's write actual. The last one, the last process is called bottling. Bottling. And right, we don't know the value yet. Now let's check whether 88% of Or let's subtract the unit here. Let's subtract the normal loss from the unit and then see whether it is equal to the actual. So, or you can find 88% of the unit and then see. So 1125 times 3 minus 135. You can see that there's an abnormal loss because an abnormal circumstance we're supposed to get when you check when you subtract the 1125 from 135, you are supposed to get 990. Supposed to get 990. But the actual thing you had was what 950 here. So there will be an abnormal loss. Normal loss. Right. And the abnormal loss here will be an extra or which is the difference between the 950 and then the 990. Right. So now let's check what we are going to give for their rates in here. Remember, we are still going to use the same thing. The total that we are going to get minus the total of the normal loss or the swap value, total value of the normal loss, right? And then also the unit minus the normal loss. So let's compute the total. All right. So now if we compute the total, it is going to be the same thing, the 72,000 minus 27,000 all over 115 minus 135. Let's do that. Then we are getting 70. So that same 70 will be given to the abnormal loss. You get it. Now 950 times 70, give me 6650. Okay. 40 times 70. So giving us 8. All right. So you can see when you add everything in the credit side, you are going to still get the same thing. Now we are done with the second one. Let's move to the last account. The last process account, which is 40. Now you bring what we did in the blending. Blending will be brought in here. The blending amount was, where is it? 66500. So it was 950 at 70. We had 6650. Then additional materials were introduced. 7090, 7380 for wages. So material seven zero nine wages 7380. Then overhead. Same as the correct paper. But you say it is absorbed 100%ly. Now, now leave it like this. Let's compute for our normal loss. Our normal loss for this one is 10%, right? So 10% of 950. So we're going to get 95, right? And then it is being sold at 30. Equal to 2850. Then our normal output for that particular destiny is 890. 890 is our normal output. It's actual to finish goods, right? So, calculator, if you have a your hard you finish I'm sure say this particular thing it can come again. The finished goods is going to be 890. We don't know the value yet. So let's subtract 950. Let's subtract 95 from 950 and then see. 95, 950 minus 95 is 885. So under normal circumstance, we are supposed to get 885 to our finished goods. But here is the case. We had what? 855. 8. We had 890. So there's an abnormal gain, right? We have to compute that. Normal gain will come in. But abnormal gain will be here. Will be at the debit side. So normal gain. So abnormal gain is here. And the abnormal gain is going to be the so this what we were supposed to get 855. But the actual we had is what 890. So there is abnormal gain here because anka was saying 855, we 890. So we broso. And there you need that so no. So find a difference 890 minus 855. 890 minus 855. 85. So that is where we have abnormal gain. It will be recorded at the debit side like this. So you ask me, how do I value this? What you are going to do is still what you've been doing, but here you keep abnormal gain outside, right? And then you add all this cost. There's 66500, 7090, 7380, 7380, right? Let's do that. 66500 plus 7090 plus 7380 plus 7380. What are you getting? You are getting what? You are getting 8, 8, very 5. Then it's as usual, you subtract your normal loss 2850 from it. Then divided by your same 950 minus your normal loss value 95. You get it. So so this one we are going to get 100. 100 will be our value, our unit get this thing to 100, 100. Watch this one, you can go back and replay it again because if you don't watch this side, well, maybe you might get one. The abnormal gain is different from the abnormal loss. Abnormal loss is credited, abnormal gain is debited. So, plus this one, you are going to get 3,500, right? Here we are going to get 8,900. Let's close the account. 91,850. 91,850. Right. So we are done with the normal process account. Now let's do our abnormal and normal and those good accounts in addition. So let's start by creating the normal loss account. Create our normal loss. So for our normal loss, we will be selling almost everything that we'll be getting scraps, right? So first of all, first we had a normal loss in what? Healing. Bring it. And the peeling, what did we get? We had 1250. 1250. I want to do the same thing there. Then, then we have it and we are going to sell it. So the thing here is that unless we get an abnormal gain, right? If we get an abnormal gain, we are going to offset that one with abnormal loss. But aside that, we sell whatever we are having here. So here, sell it, then we receive, send the money to the bank, to the scrap value, which is 1,257. Now, the next one, lending. We also had a normal loss there. And menu. Hey, now we are remember, yeah, they were top higher, my trim. Lending, we had what, 27,000, 2,700. Send the same thing there. Thousands. Now, we are also going to sell that one. Then receive bank. Then we sold it scrap. Then it is going to be 2,000. Then bottling too, we had a normal loss. right? Bottling had a normal loss here of what 2850, right? But note that since we had abnormal gain, we are not going to we are not going to sell all this abnormal loss. We are going to make sure that the abnormal gain offsets the abnormal loss, right? So what we are going to do here is in the bank is going to be what? The abnormal gain we had abnormal gain of 35, right? So we are going to subtract that 35 from the 95, then multiply by the 30. It is going to be something like this. 95 minus 35, right? Times 30. So we are subtracting this 35. It is the abnormal gain. We have a loss already, so it works. We have to offset it. So this is what we are going to put down. So 95 minus 35 times 30. Then we are going to get 118. So now we close the account. Then we see our real abnormal gain. We add which side is bigger, 1250 plus 2700 plus 2850. 6800 6800. Then the difference here will be your abnormal, will be sent to abnormal. That difference sent abnormal gain account in the abnormal gain. All this. No, it's not time we have now. Another abnormal gain will receive the normal loss. What we had in there. We had 1050, right? And then now we bring what we had in bottling. With abnormal loss we had in bottling is 3500. Right, this is it. Portland had 350. Now 3500. Find the difference. Close the account here. 3500. Now difference will be sent to D and L. 3500 minus 1050. 245 plus this is what is going to be sent to the PML account. Now we come to abnormal loss account. For the abnormal loss, what we had was what did we get from for abnormal loss? We had abnormal loss in blending. And then it was 2800. So blending is my screen messing up. We had it to be with 00. Now uh, uh, we are going to send some value to the bank based on this. And this is what's going to happen. What is going to happen is that even though we had 2,800 as a abnormal loss here, right? We are going to take the scrap value of the normal loss in there. So the scrap value or the normal loss we had in there is going to cater for it. So 40, the abnormal gain was 40 units times the scrap value in there. And so we are going to get it. So after getting the 800, find the difference and then you push it to the profit or loss account. So basically, what I mean is that you see, we have normal loss there already, right? And the normal loss is unestimated, and this is the actual abnormal loss you had. So your normal loss is going to take or going to subsidize your abnormal gain. So the parts of the abnormal gain that is subsidized, it's subsidized. That's what you are saying here. So the abnormal loss unit was 40, and then the scrap value for the normal loss is 20. So you multiply it and then you get this 800. So see, so for this, you see the abnormal loss unit was what? 40. And the normal loss is what? 20. So this normal loss is going to pay some of this abnormal loss. It's going to pay it. That's why we're taking out it out here. So this is actually it for the first part of the question 4. You want to draw so anything I'm matching on. Why is that? So let's look at the B. For how na me tone, into counting matching. Now that is it for the A, 15 man. The B, advice management of Afri West Limited on whether to further process the product or not, supporting your recommendation with relevant workers. So uh, now firms will want to know whether they should sell something or not sell something based on whether the profit that they will be getting will be okay as compared to keeping it, right? So here they are producing three products. They are producing some products that is jointly produced. Like for example, you see that if you want to ministry product being perhaps again product. Let's say uh you want to produce abe abe wine, right? You will see that automatically you will get oil in addition. Let's say you want to prepare palm nut soup, right? You will get oil, right? So the oil and then the palm nut soup becomes like a split. Like there are somewhere that they are going to be splitted. So you see that at the beginning, it is palm kernel until reach some point and then they disperse and then they change. So palm kernel. Hey, you let me use crude oil. Let me use crude is crude until they process it and then now it disperses into kerosene. I think you get petrol from there and then maybe something else. Right, very about maybe diesel, maybe right, right. So it used to be crude oil until what? It reaches the split off point where it is going to be split into kerosene, petrol, and diesel. So that's what the split off point is. So meaning that in this particular kind of product, it used to be one hour until it reached the split off point. When it reached the split off point and then they split it into kerosene, petrol, and diesel, for example. Here, we don't know the raw material. Let me just put anything there as the start. Let me just so yeah, let me just use three as the material. Just give me an example. And then what we are having in here as the product, the end product is MP, PP, and PP. So MP, PP, and then CP, right? Because you can see from here that the company is what? Uh, it's a manufacturer and it sells three joint delicacies. So three. So this is the three joint ones, right? So initially it will start as sweet oh, until it gets to the final stage where it will disperse. So it will be broken down into three, MP, CP, and then PP. Right? That's the same theory as in here. Now, at the split off point, now at the split off point, MP is being sold at 85 per unit. And then this one is being sold at 100. And then this one is being sold at 75. Right. So that's the split off. Now, what they are telling us is that selling price, when we process any of this, right? When we process MP, now the selling price is going to increase to 118, right? Now, when we process CP, the selling price is going to increase to 140. Now, when we process PP, the selling price is going to increase of 25 to 125. You can see that there's drastic, right? But the caveat here is that it is also going to what? Incur some costs, 30, 35, 40. And these costs are per unit. So when you check the difference between 85 and then 118, you'll be thinking, say, oh, because the difference from 85 to 118 is bigger than 30, then the manager or the management should accept that one. But no, check something here. The percentage output at split is 40%, but the expected output when they do further products is going to reduce to 340. So you find 40% of the actual output that we had, the 890, 35% of 890, 25% of what 890. Then you get the actual output for them individually. Now, you check the revenue when it was what at its normal this thing, 40%. And then you check the revenue when it was uh being processed and then the output is of 340. You calculate the cost too, and then use the cost as a benchmark to measure whether the management should accept. So that's what we are going to do. So you know the split off points now, right? Where the products will be out until they are branched into different kind of products, right? So we are coming to do that. So this one, then let me use Excel so that I can finish fast. Or, or, so what we are going to do is we are going to calculate the output at the split off point. So now output have MP, have CP, and then we have PP, right? So the output at the split off points, this one is what 40%. So equal to 0.4 times the actual output, right? Which was what 890. So 890. So just get here. Right. So M2 is equal to 0.4 or 40% times the actual distance, 890, right? That's what we are going to. The next one too will be what? 35% times 890. The next one too will be 25% times 890. Then this is what we get. Let me make sure I leave everything. Now, this one too is 35%, right? So 0.35 times 890. Then this one too is equal to 0.25, 0.25 times 825, 890. So this is it. Now, we now move on to calculate, we now move on to bring in the selling price at split. So this is the selling price at split of right 85, 175, 85, 175. Right. Let's check the revenue at split of revenue at split. So revenue is just going to be the output times the selling price, right? So equal to this times the selling price. Get it? This time the selling price. This is what we get. So all of them, this times this times this two times this. This is what we get here. All right, so now let me just close this revenue aspect of. Now, let me now compute the cost of the listing. Cost of further processing. If in case they want further processing. Okay. The cost this year is like 30, 35, 40, 30, 25, 40. Right. Now, total cost is going to equal to the output times the cost. The output at split times the cost. Because that's what they are going to process. So this is it for this one. Let me move it. This is it here. Right. This is the cost. So now let's compute the revenue or out. Let's now look for the revenue after we process it. So first let's look at the output. Output after processing. Output after processing for this one is 340. I'm typing them from here. 340. Next one is 298. 298. The next one here is 200. All right. Now let's bring in the selling prices as because so selling price at for further processing. Further process. One one eight. 118. I'm just typing it from here. Right. 147. Now let's look for the revenue for processing. So it should be equal as usual this times this. Let's change it. So this is it here. This is the revenue we are going to get after that. Right. Now, because this revenue is going to incur a cost, right? We can treat this two ways. It's either we subtract this revenue from the cost and then get the net profit. This one two minus the cost and then get the net profit. And this one's minus the cost and get the net profit. Or let's check for the incremental. So according to the law or the rule for accepting further processing or not. So when the incremental revenue, for example, that we are coming to calculate is positive, right? Then you accept for further processing. But when it is negative, you do not accept for further processing. So let's look at it. So equal to this minus this minus this. This is the actual this thing without pre-processing. This one. If we don't process this, what we are going to get. So if this minus this gives us positive, then we are going to accept it. But if it doesn't, we are going to reject that proposal on it. Boom. We had negative here, right? Now let's try here to equal to this minus this minus this. Boom, we had a negative here. Let me color it. Right. Now the next one here equal to this minus this minus this. Boom. We had a positive figure here, right? We had a positive figure here of 37.5. So meaning that we can accept or the approve for further processing for people. But these ones give us negatives, right? But this one give us positive. So we can accept to further process. So we write, we advise management to, we advise management not to further process MP and CP as their incremental revenue is negative 820 and negative 332.50 respectively. But we advise that EP can be further processed as its incremental revenue is for 37.5. Maybe you get it. All right. So you see it to be easy, but technical. Now, the final part of this is states two differences between marginal and absorption cost. The difference between marginal and absorption costing is that marginal costing treats fixed cost as a period cost, whilst absorption costing treats its fixed cost to products and also include it into inventory valuation as the first one. The second one is that marginal costs have higher profit margin per unit, and then absorption costs have lower profit margin per unit. The third one, adding additional one. Marginal cost focuses on short-term decision making, such as pricing and profitability. Absorption costing focus on long-term profitability, inventory valuation, and financial reporting. Right. So this video could be long, right? Kindly put it at 2.0. So this is where we end this session, and then I reach out the best. During the day, if I'm able to solve any other question, I'll make sure I upload it. Thank you very much for your time, and see you at the other side of the video. Okay, this is how we've done it. When we want to start.